what other place do you go to where it's the last place winner? The last person that's finishing last gets the most cheers.
Yeah.
It's not it's not the person that's gotten done first. No, it's the one that's struggling.
Welcome to She Leads, a podcast about faith, leadership, and relationships. I'm your host, Thea, and I'm so glad you tuned in today. I want to welcome my guest today. We have an exciting conversation just about strength training and learning a new skill. And so I'm going to just jump in. You guys introduce yourself and just tell us quickly why'd you say yes to today?
I'm Chelsi Dighton, and I always have the hardest time explaining myself, so I'll kind of just go there. I am a wife, and I am a mom, which is my favorite job, to my almost 4-year-old daughter and then my 1-year-old boy. But I also am our operations manager at Cosmic CrossFit, and then I also have 2 little side gigs. I'm a Saint makeup artist, and I also sell Zai activewear. So I'm busy, very busy. Oh. But yeah, that's me. And I said yes today because 1, you're my friend, and 2, I think it's important that people know about strength and how to become stronger and why health is important.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Susan Boyer. I've been doing CrossFit for over 15 years. I've been doing some kind of fitness from way more than half of my life. I've always found something where I do some kind of fitness. I'm a wife, mother, grandmother, dog mom, coach at the CrossFit that Thea comes to. And I agreed to do this today because I think it's important for people to find out about fitness, that you can do it at any level, no matter what age you're doing it. Come in, do it, and be active. And the biggest reason I do what I do is so I can be a fun grandma.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you again for coming in. And I just thought we would start by just sharing a little bit of your fitness journey. How'd you get to where you are? Just how would you describe that?
Well, I think my fitness journey started when I was really young. I was just put into sports to see what I liked, and then I fell in love with softball. And so I played since I was in T-ball, and then I went on to college and I also played softball. Once I was done with softball, I was missing something. There was like a big hole. So I'm a really competitive person. I like to be active, but I was missing that. So I tried the regular gym, and kudos to anybody who can go to the regular gym and be disciplined and can do the thing, because that's not me. I need to have someone push me. I need the clock to get that competitiveness. So I talked to my husband and just said, listen, I need something else. I'm glad you can do the whole gym thing, but I need someone to tell me what to do. So then I went through a training, an onboarding process, and I fell in love with it. So I've been doing that for, 6 years now, but I have also had previous injuries from softball that came about because I was doing fitness and had to take care of that. I've also had 2 pregnancies, so that kind of slowed me down, but I did work out through all of those. And right now I feel like I am at the highest, or I'm at the peak of my fitness. I am training
So
really
far.
hard. Yeah, so far. I'm on an upward ramp right now. So that's really, really exciting for me. So that's been my fitness journey.
I did nothing when I was in school. I didn't want to sweat. I was sweating. No. My younger sister played sports, and I was always close with her. I think I was 19. She was still in high school, and she was getting ready for softball season. So she got me interested in running. So I started running with her. That's where it started. From there, it went to high impact aerobics, step aerobics, weightlifting. Again, I've done such a realm of different things, and I've fallen, but this is the one thing I've stuck with the longest, which, like I said, I've been 15 years with CrossFit. Wow. For me, it's community. That is the biggest draw for me, is the community, people being there, cheering you on. So I've reached my peak with CrossFit and my fitness. I'm going to try to maintain. I've worked through several injuries and have come to realize we're not going for the PRs anymore. We're maintaining a good lifestyle so that I can continue to move and try to move relatively pain-free for the rest of my life. And like I said, going to be the fun grandma.
Yeah.
Like when I go to my son's house and my grandson says, like, let's go for a bike ride, I can still go for that bike ride.
I love that. Yeah, be able to crawl around on the floor with them.
Yes.
And enjoy it. So I actually had never been athletic before CrossFit. I danced in high school, and I always say I was very energetic. I had a lot of enthusiasm. I wasn't the best dancer, but I mean, I was fit-ish during that time. Also, I was in high school, right? We're all at our best in high school. It was a good time. And then quickly through college, just began to be, I was also in a very abusive relationship. And so not taking care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally. And after I had gone overseas, I lost a lot of weight because there's a lot of walking and the food, I will say, it's just different. And I wasn't exercising. But when I came home, it kind of went back to it. And I remember I was probably 28 or so, and I have a long history of heart disease in both my parents' families. And my grandmother was just beginning to deal with dementia. And when I realized that those were connected, I thought, I've got to do something. And I felt like at the time, if I do something now, it'll be easier than in my 40s. Like that was my mentality. And so there was two guys who did CrossFit at my church. One of them owned it, and they were jacked. And I was like, and they would talk about it, and I was like, oh my gosh. But then there was this woman, a mom, and she just had a normal looking body, and she was friendly and nice. And I remember I wanted to spend time with her. And so I thought, well, I'll go try CrossFit. I had been working out at home. I've been doing Jillian Michaels videos. Yeah. I loved it. Shred it, whatever, get shred, something like that. And I was like, Jillian Michaels is my trainer. But that first CrossFit, I was like, I did this, and no, I was not doing the same workouts that those jacked guys were doing, but I was doing the same thing. Yeah. And I was instantly kind of bit and just continued in this. That was almost 10 years ago. January will be 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I just fell in love with this ability that I discovered about myself.
Yep.
I mean, again, I was not athletic. I never played a sport. I never considered myself an athlete. Right. And for me to feel the transformation, I was like, whoa. And I remember, probably a year or two in, my body definitely changed drastically. And people were asking well, when is it going to be enough? And I was like, oh, I'm not here for how much I can lose. I'm here to how much I can gain.
Right.
I'm here to see the weight go up on the barbell.
Good answer.
Right? I'm not here
answer.
to get the scale down. That's kind of a great bonus that came along with this new thing that I found about myself. And so just so happens I started CrossFit the same year I started seminary. So I started seminary in the fall, but I started CrossFit in January. And I've told my first coach over and over, I would not be a pastor without CrossFit because it has just made me discover what I can do.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
How CrossFit is so much more than just in the gym and working out. It transforms your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about your everyday life, what you can do in everyday life.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Also, give yourself credit for being a dancer because dancing is hard.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
really hard.
it wasn't that hard.
But you have to use skills.
There's a discipline there.
You have to learn skills and coordination and stuff, and that takes you in real life too. So all you dancers, that's good too.
Sure. And I mean, if I'm honest, I was on the drill team because I wanted to be cool.
See?
And I wanted to have friends. There's the same reason I showed up at CrossFit. Just trying to make a friend.
But there's skills there too that you learned. So that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So beyond the physical, what is the draw to that community? So you kind of touched on that, but what is it about community fitness that is
just knowing? For me, it's knowing someone's you make those friends and they count on you showing up. If you don't show up, then they're like, no, then I don't need to show up either. So knowing someone's counting on me to show up, that you have that accountability. That's the one thing I love about our gym is that's one of the things Chelsi does. If someone doesn't show up for a week, she's texting them. Not a lot of gyms are I'll take your money, and if you show up, you show up. But if you don't, you don't. That's on you. We don't care. But the thing I love about our gym is we care if you show up and if you don't. Yeah. But the community, and it's not just the classes. You get to know these people. They become a second family. For me, it's these people are all younger than me. These are all my kids. They're young. The majority of everybody in that gym are younger than my children. These are my kids. Their kids are my grandchildren. So it's a huge draw. And for someone to want to leave, it's like, I'd never understand that. I don't.
It is. We are very, very fortunate. Our gym is more than just a gym. We have so many good members who do become your family and friends. I mean, they enjoy the community as well. That's why we have so many people that have stuck around for so long. It's different. It's like I was saying earlier, going into a regular gym, you have to know what you are going to do, right? Well, when you're coming to this gym, you have friends to work out with you and you're doing the same thing. It just makes it so much more fun, makes it more inviting. I know some people are nervous to come into a gym because there is that community and they're like, oh, where do I fit? Am I going to fit in? I'm the new person. No, I've been to so many gyms, CrossFit gyms, and everyone is like so welcoming. And I think that's the big CrossFit like goal is to make sure that our community is welcoming. That's what we are kind of like known about. Yeah. And like I said, our gym, we're blessed with some really, really great folks. And I'm telling you, like from all different backgrounds, all different lifestyles, but when we're in there, we're all together. It's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, I would agree. I remember early on, I mean, I definitely, got bit by the CrossFit bug and I was completely obsessed. And my non-CrossFit friends felt a little like, well, I'm not CrossFit, so you don't want to hang out with me anymore. Or, you're definitely in a cult over there because of that. But I remember trying to explain to my mom, I was like, Mom, these are not just the people I work out with. Like, there's just something that happens when you go through something tough together and you survive it and then you show up the next day. You talk about, showing up. I remember my first year I did 5 a.m. and that's a hard commitment. I think you do it sometimes, right? Like 5 a.m. is a commitment to make. But what got me out of bed at 4:40 was knowing who was waiting for me, right? Who might those, and then we would usually not leave till 7 because we would be hanging out and laughing. And I mean, I can think back, that was a great start to my day.
It is.
Right? To have, and then to know no matter what happens tomorrow, I get to come back and do something great with these people. But then, those were my people that at my first gym for those first 5 years. I mean, every birthday, every celebration, those were the closest. And even still, those are still some of the most meaningful people in my life because of that community. And again, this idea that you can show up at a Globo gym, right? This is a CrossFit term, that no one knows you're there. No one sees you or cares.
Right.
Yep.
And it's not that like we're always doing stuff like together. I mean, we do partner WODs once, maybe twice a week, like you have that, but it's just, hey, we just did this hard thing together. Hey, glad to see you, know, and it does create this opportunity that you're not alone. I know for me, like I've got an injury that I don't believe will be fixed. And there's, questions of, well, why don't you just stop CrossFit? And I'm like, I just don't know if I can do it without the community appeal. If I had a group of ladies that were willing to go walk with me 3 times a week, maybe you could, or if I had a really good friend at the yoga studio, like whatever, but I don't see myself, if it's just on me alone, I'm the only one who's let down. I'm the only one, like I have a million other reasons.
Right. It's
not
easier for those excuses to come in. When you don't
Even
have
if I had those 3 friends that would want to go walk, it's boring. Okay, we're going to have conversations. I like doing something different every day. And that's another appeal for CrossFit is, again, like Chelsi said, you walk in, the workout's already there, but it is different every single day.
Yeah.
And that's very appealing.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I would agree.
It also makes you, like you said, it is different every single day. It makes you work on your weaknesses, which is a big deal. Because a lot of people will be like, I don't like running. I'm not going to do it. Okay, well, but there was running in the workout today, and I did it, and I'm better for it. So it's good.
Yeah.
And you're good by coming in and modifying, too. I love seeing you there.
I just had to accept it, that I just can't. And if I want to keep coming and I want to be able to do the things I can, then I can't. I'll just disclosure today with that 70-pound
You did more than I did.
So 70-pound stone pickup. What do you call it? Dead ball. What do you call it? D-ball. What's the D stand for?
Dead. Let's say. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I don't even know what it stands for, honestly.
You should have asked.
Full of acronyms. But we
It's a
tried it
heavy
with a
ball.
30 and a 40 and it was fine. And then was like, just try a 70. And I'm like, and then Sue was so good. She's like, I don't know if you should with your arm. And I was like, well, it's not really an arm exercise. It's it's a core and legs. And she's like, okay. And then the other coach was like, sure, go ahead. I did it. It did not hurt my arm.
Good.
I did hurt my back.
Oh no, your back is hurting?
It's fine.
Oh no.
But like on the run, like about 5 minutes into the workout, so 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh.
I shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Ryan would tell
Form.
you probably weren't doing the form right. You probably weren't keeping tight
Sure, I
enough.
wasn't. I never
It's
did
like,
it before.
I only did 50, and I could feel it in my shoulder because certain twisting movements. I am gonna it's because it's torn again, so it's.
Yeah.
It's really hard in CrossFit. This is just for every movement to keep that core, your midline, to keep that core really tight.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And it's like the first thing to go because people don't think about it. You just think your body's going to react and get tight. No. You have to concentrate on keeping that core tight. So that's probably what it's the first thing that goes.
Yeah.
And it's so silly, but it's so important for every single movement.
So yeah, talk about that. You said earlier, everything's transferable. So one of my favorite things about CrossFit, right, especially when I fell in love with it, it's for the known and the unknown. It's functional fitness to prepare yourself for the known and the unknown.
Correct.
Right? What you're going to have to do, sit down on the floor with your grandkids, go to the bathroom, right? That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe climb stairs, whatever, go on a hike. But then the unknown, like when life just throws you those curveballs and things you didn't know that you were expecting. So what are some of the things that you've seen that you realized like, oh, CrossFit prepared me for this unknown?
Oh, man. Oh, let me think about that for a minute. Well, okay. Not that this was unknown because I had a baby, so that's not really unknown. But being able to carry that car seat is something that you're not really aware. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll carry it. Like, oh no, once that baby grows, that gets really heavy. And being able to maneuver that from the ground to your side, to the car seat, putting them in. So like that was unknown for me, like how much that would take away from me. So like even picking up now my 4-year-old to put her in her booster seat, that's a lot to pick up. She's not big, but it's still a lot to maneuver. So that I just functional fitness and all, and especially if you have an injury. Like my back went out a while ago, and you don't realize how much you use your back for every single thing you do. Vacuuming, okay, so silly, or picking up the trash, taking the trash out. So many things you don't really think about. But I'm thankful for CrossFit because I have the strength to be able to do it. Yeah. And I am that grocery person. Like I am taking all the groceries in at one time. That's so silly and so stubborn, and I shouldn't be that way, but I am. And so I'm like, boom, boom, got all my groceries. Oh, but I still have to pick up my child in that car seat. You better believe I'm getting that and opening the door. So not necessarily functional. It's kind of functional. Yeah. Stubbornly functional there. But I have the strength. I am able to do that because I work out.
When you're talking about the car seat, I mean, I think, it's going to happen, but you don't know how it's, how heavy it's going to be.
Or awkward, yeah.
And I mean, I don't pick up car seats often, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's just like the D-ball today. Like you got to pick up this 50, 70 pound thing and move it, to this new location without throwing your back out. Exactly. And you have to do that multiple times a day.
Those suckers have to weigh at least 20 pounds.
Oh, they're heavy, yeah. Well, I mean, they got to be if we get in a wreck. But, yeah, it is. It's awkward because you got to move them over, too. So it's like you have to keep everything tight so you don't hurt yourself.
Just as like the ones that Brooksy's in right now. It's like to take it out of its carrier. I mean, you get yourself in those awkward positions. And just to be able to move something when you are in an awkward position, like, oh, yeah, I can do that.
And let's be honest, my son is heavy.
Yeah.
He's a thick boy. So
I remember she's a nurse at a school, and she was talking about how they were trying to move reams of paper. Yeah. And the women were kind of all, and she said, you know what I did? I grabbed it on both ends, and I just snatched it up.
Yes. Good for her. Good for her.
And she was so proud. And all the ladies were like, oh, wow, of like, yeah. But even just, I think this idea of like, when I see somebody moving something heavy, I'm always like, squeeze your glutes.
Yeah, luggage.
And my husband's like, stop it, be quiet.
Luggage on the airplane. Or picking up your luggage off the ramp. Like, oh, gosh, don't do that. Or like, okay, can I help? Can I help? But yeah, you see it everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I like to be able to turn around and say, I got it. I CrossFit.
Yeah.
I know. It's so nice when people offer to help. But you're like, I'm strong. I got it.
Yeah. Well, I remember one time, my friend and I who started CrossFit, I started CrossFit with her. We did like a 5K, like a little in-town 5K. And I mean, there maybe were 20 people there. I don't even remember what cause it was for. And like we won, right? First and second or whatever. And this other lady was like, do you guys do this all the time? We're like, oh no, this is actually my first 5K, like official, and she's like, well, how did you train for this? And we both go, CrossFit. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you run, but you don't really do long distances, right? We had probably never done that.
At the most.
2,000 meters, but and we're like, yeah. And that was, I think, one of the first times I realized, okay, I'm not a runner. I run more now, but then I wasn't running regularly. And yet just because of the conditioning. Yeah. What about new strengths? What is something new that CrossFit like taught you that you maybe didn't ever expect to gain?
Climbs.
Ooh, say more.
Rope climbs.
Yeah.
I could never, like they tried to teach us, old school, older, we did that in high school. I could never get up that rope. They could never teach me how to do it. I was over 50 years old when I learned how to climb a rope. Wow.
That's cool.
Or one leg, pistol squat, the one-legged squat. I can't right now, but I can do those. Yeah. I can go down and I can come back on one leg. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I have been obviously watching the games for a while now, and each year they bring new skills to the competition. And so I, again, stubborn, see those skills and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And so then I come in and I'm humbled very quickly because I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But then that gives me room to grow towards what I want. So like I just got my muscle up not too long ago. I'm struggling with it at the moment, but that's more of a mental thing that I'm struggling with. I'm strong enough to do it. It's just I got to go back to the technique to get me there. But muscle ups are like in the games, they do these pullovers, and it's so challenging, but I got that too. So it's just like watching them do those new skills. So everything else that CrossFit has taught me, it has led up to me being able to try those skills and to accomplish those. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I would agree, Sue, with the rope climb. I remember going to Girls Gone RX competition at Edo in Houston, just as a spectator. Me and some CrossFit friends, we went and watching these girls. And I was watching them and really 100% body comparison, right? And I'm like, she kind of looks like me, like she looks like a regular girl, And I'm watching the movements, I'm watching the heats. And I remember turning to my friend and I was like, we could do this. If we, kind of put our mind to it. And so rope climb was one of them. That was the main thing that I had never done before that they were doing. But a lot of their stuff they were doing, it was either stuff I was or I was close to.
Right.
And so I was like, next year, let's do this. And so we all went to lunch and we made our plan, okay, and then we really we worked on it. I remember I took it real serious. Yeah. As soon as they released the minimum standards, I'm like, I remember one day, this is not wise. I did 175 pound overhead squats in one day. Because I was preparing for I went to Rossi the next week. They were pretty upset with me. Like, what? Yeah. So let's calm it down. This is not smart. I'm trying to do this thing for, he's like, calm it down.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. It was too much in one day.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do it straight, but still.
Correct.
After a workout, I stayed and did 100.
Whoa.
This is not smart. It's not my best move. But that next year, just competing, we did not podium. I don't have any idea what number we were, but the fact that we could do it, right? It was so empowering. And actually, I think the next year or 2 years later, we went back. And so the first year, just to get the one rope climb, we're like, we accomplished it, end of the workout, of course, that's where they put them, where you're fatigued, you're tired.
Absolutely.
But 2 years later, I remember it was, you had to do 5 or 8, and we were just up and down over and over and over. And I remember this one girl from the gym afterwards was like, where did that come from? And I got so offended. I was like, I have been working on this. This wasn't a magic trick, But it was such this wow. Yep. When I put in the work, when I show up, when I'm willing to try the hard and scary thing, those ropes are really, really high.
They are.
It is scary.
Yeah, when you kind of can't think about it.
No, you just got to go.
You just got to go and then come down.
Yep.
Right? Just,
hand over hand. Come on.
Yep. But just that, that was one of those moments okay, again, I can do hard things. I do it all the time.
Right.
And I feel like I have to chime in really quick because you talking about that PR of getting up the rope, that is one of the coolest things about the community too. Not to bring it back to that, but that's where it always comes back to the community. When someone gets a PR, the whole gym is cheering for them. Everyone is stopping and clapping and so excited. And it is one of the coolest because all your hard work has paid off, and we all see that you're putting in the hard work, and we're all so proud of you. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's like, what other place do you go to where it's the last place winner? The last person that's finishing last gets the most cheers.
Yeah.
It's not the person that's gotten done first. No, it's the one that's struggling.
Yeah. Keeps going.
Right,
Put
but
it
they
through.
don't quit. They push through.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we recorded, we were talking about, crying in CrossFit. And I mean, there's been a million times that that's happened to me. And I remember asking my coach one time, and I was trying to max out on a back squat. So it wasn't even like in a WOD or anything. And I started getting teary, and then I looked at her and I go, why is this happening? And she goes, because you're close. Because you're close to discovering who you really are and what you can really do. And that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
But you got this. I'm right here. I've seen you do whatever. She was a good creeper. We would creep.
Yeah.
She don't care. You were there for 3 hours. We're going to creep. She's like, you just did it at 2 pounds less.
Right.
You got this.
Right.
Suck it up.
Here we go. You dry those tears.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would be your hope for someone looking and needing to find new strength? What would be that something, someone new walks into the gym and they're needing, physical, renewal, but even this like, a way to trust that they could learn something new. What would you hope for them?
I think when people come through, first of all, coming through the door is the hardest part. So hoping that they are willing to take that first step.
Yeah.
But being vulnerable, like you have to be. It's hard. It's very hard, and you are going to see that very quickly. But also trusting, and I'm talking more from like our gym. I can't speak for every gym, but trusting in the people that are coaching or that are running the gym, because that is truly what we are there for. We are there we're going to hold your hand at first. We're going to help you through it. We're going to help you learn all the movements. We're going to tell you it's hard, but we're also going to tell you how to get past that. So really just coming in with an open mind, open heart, and kind of letting your ego go. Because if you let that go, then you're going to grow, right? If you come in and you have this big old ego, like I used to lift 250 pounds. Okay, but we're not there anymore. We're going to start where we're at. So being open and trusting the coaches that are there and trusting yourself that you can do it. Like just trusting yourself, believe in yourself, because that's hard. But if you can do that, then you're going to be great. You're going to be great.
Yeah, just be willing to trust the process. Are you willing to put the hard work in? Is like define your goals. Decide now what it is you really, really want. And do you want to lift heavy things, or do you want to have functional fitness for the rest of your life? Do you want to be able to move and just where do I want to be? Where do I see myself in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Okay, I would love for some 80-year-old woman to walk in that gym and me to be able to help her get a 75-pound deadlift. Trust the process. You can start it at any time. If you want to get stronger, I can help you get stronger. If you want to be able to get up off the floor if you fall, trust the process and we can get you there.
Yeah. And I just can't imagine what that might do for our world if more people believed that they could do hard things, that they could change their circumstances, that they could change how they're at least reacting, right, to the reality around us. I think so often in our society, people feel so stuck. They feel handed a raw deal. They feel constricted by whatever's going on, right? But this reminder of like, hey, you can get through this. Right. Look, you have evidence. You've done it. Right. You learned something new. That means you can learn a new way to talk to your spouse. It means you can learn a new way to deal with strangers in line, right? You could learn a new way to look at the political figure that's driving you crazy. Like whatever it is, right? You can learn something new. And in fact, you can actually get good at it.
Right.
Go ahead.
You learn so much about yourself going through the process. And I think as an adult, and maybe it's just me as a mom coming off postpartum, you lose a lot of yourself. You lose your confidence. But I wouldn't like to say, but I believe that a lot of people are there, whether you're a mom, you're a male, like wherever you are, your confidence, because there's just so much that you have to do every single day, the busy of the just life. And you lose yourself in a lot of that. And when you're in the gym, that is you. You are working on yourself. And if you're allowing yourself that time to take care of yourself, like it's so powerful. And like I said, I'm kind of at it's not necessarily the peak, but I'm in a good spot right now in
You're
the
climbing
gym.
up the hill.
And I'm telling you, it is changing my life. It's changing my marriage for the better. It's changing me as a mom for the better. It is changing me as a Christian. It's changing me like completely. And it's really like mind blowing how much CrossFit or working out in the gym is transforming my life in the coolest and most exciting way. I just have to throw that in there. It's really cool how clear your mind can be when you are taking out your stress in the gym. You're working out. You're taking care of your mental health.
You're not just working on your strength, physical strength in the gym. You're working on your mental strength. And that
Is the most important part.
that is the most important part. It's like it just teaches us to be so much stronger mentally. And that is a big deal in this world right now. A big deal.
And good humans.
When I coached, I remember saying, I think my biggest job is to open the door and let these people discover how strong they are.
Yeah.
Like, and that's my hope, is that someone would be able to find out just how strong they really are.
I'm working with someone like that right now.
Yeah.
And watching her is like so amazing. As a coach, it's like I can go home happy every day watching her.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
We just did a competition, and we had people podium who didn't think they would podium, and seeing them like believe, like, oh, I did, I'm standing up here. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
And the aftermath of that is now watching them in the gym, watching them like, oh, I did that at the competition. I can do that now today. And seeing like they're now challenging themselves a little bit more, and that's so much fun.
And asking for help. More people are now like, how do I get this?
Yeah.
So again, being vulnerable. Ask.
I love that. I love that.
Yep.
What would be the next step you would suggest someone to take if they are interested in building new strength or finding new strength?
I think this could go either way. So if you are already a leader in the gym, maybe reaching out and seeing how you can improve yourself. Like I now have a coach to help me, and that's made a big difference in my life, but also seeing how other people might look at me and how I can help them. So reaching out and getting a coach to help. But if you are someone who, if you're stuck, like you just graduated college and you need something to do, to compete, to have a community again, I think it's just stepping in those doors. Or if you are someone who is kind of lost and you need to find yourself, listen, CrossFit may come across scary, or if you see all these people lifting big, we're not the professionals. We are just your normal, average people going into the gym and having a good time and working out and relieving our own stress. So if you are needing to find yourself, if you need to release stress, I think just coming in those doors and that's the biggest step, coming in those doors and then trusting yourself, trusting the coaches. That's a huge step and a necessary one.
Yeah, everything Chelsi said, and trusting the whole, like I said, trusting the whole process and making that commitment. Yeah. This is what I want. I love it when I see someone say, I'm committing to 3 days a week. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to be checking on you. Or someone that's been lost and comes back. Where you been? Okay. I now expect you this, and this, and this. It's like we have plenty of people that get lost and lose their way and then find their way back. Yeah. And it's hard. Sometimes I think it's even harder.
Oh, it is.
Coming back that second or third time.
Sure. It is. Sure. But the important thing is, people deserve that. Like, you deserve that. You deserve your time. You deserve to put yourself first, and you deserve to work on yourself and be happy and healthy. Yeah. Like, you deserve it. Like, give yourself that time.
I love that. I love that. Thank you both for this conversation. And thank you for tuning in. I feel like I would be remorse if I did not just plug a couple CrossFit gyms that have been fantastic. So here in Pearland, we all go to Cosmic CrossFit. Pearland CrossFit is also a great CrossFit affiliate here in the Pearland area. I started my journey at Chalk Monkey out in Pasadena. It's still open and probably one of the places that will hold a special place in my heart for what Chalk Monkey has done for me. But then also, if you're out in the more southern Brazoria County, Brazoria gym, I forgot the name right now. It's the CrossFit gym in Brazoria, and they are phenomenal. I was there only 6 months, but it was definitely a safe place that I really felt so honored to be at. I'd love to hear from you. What has been your fitness journey like? How are you striving to find new strengths? How's this conversation inspired and encouraged you? Send those to sheleadscomments@gmail.com. Check out the show notes if you want to find links to our guest as well as these affiliates I mentioned. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. She Leads is produced by me, Thea Curry-Fuson, recorded and edited by Pearland Podcast Studios. All thoughts and expressions shared by the guests are theirs and not the organizations they're affiliated with. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out next week to continue the conversation on She Leads.